This time on the hit list, 8 performers who are just as at home on the screen as they are in the recording studio. Dreamgirls star Jamie Foxx was into music way before he took up a career in acting. Growing up in Texas, he began taking piano lessons at the age of 5 and studied classical music in college when he was still known as Eric Bishop. Although his blossoming careers in stand-up comedy and acting began overshadowing his musical aspirations in the 90s, he's never lost sight of his early ambition. And in 2006, he released the album Unpredictable, which went straight to #1 in the UK.
It's been my first love, you know, since I first started, but it didn't really pan out that way, and I'm kind of glad it didn't, because if it had been music first, I don't think I would have been able to have the type of career I have now, because music sometimes is a short-lived, you know, season, couple of hits, maybe not hits, and then you move on.
His long-running superstar status allowed him to call on the services of a who's who of hip-hop and R&B.
It was basically phone a friend. I've been knowing these guys for years: Snoop, Game, Common, Mary J. Blige, LL Cool J's on the bonus track, Ludacris, Twister. I mean, this is an action-packed record, and the records are strong. It's strong records, so it's not like how you go, ooh, come help me, revive this. You know, ooh, this stinks. Could you just do something to make it hot? They're all hot, and like I said, in the States, it's pandemonium right there in the States right now. It's crazy. So we're trying to bring a little bit of love and share it here.
But then he'd already proved his worth as a vocalist by taking on the lead role in the 2004 Ray Charles biopic, Ray, for which he won an Academy Award for Best Actor. 3 years later, in the film version of the 70s stage musical Dreamgirls, he left the singing up to Beyonce Knowles and Jennifer Hudson and took on the role of an ambitious manager who sets about turning the Dreamettes into superstars. Promoting the movie at the 2006 Cannes Film Festival, Jamie was bent on indulging his famous love of the nightlife.
I'm having a ball. I just got here. I'm ready to go. I hear there's parties going on. We're celebrating Dreamgirls, Beyonce, Eddie Murphy, Danny Glover. It's going to be great.
In 2009, he was still enjoying the good times, celebrating the launch of his film The Soloist, in which he stars as the formerly homeless musical prodigy Nathaniel Ayres, and his #1 hit song with rapper T-Pain.
Blame it on the goose, got you feeling loose. Blame it on the tron, got you in the zone. Blame it on the
Okay.
It's an absolute, there's nothing like having a #1 song. You can have a #1 movie, and it'll be great, maybe domestic, maybe whatever, but a song goes all the way around the world. And to have a second album and to find a record like that, it is breaking every single record that's out there. It's breaking 50 Cent's record, 150 million listeners. It's incredible.
Over the past 20 years, comedians and radio presenters in Australia have often joked that Kylie Minogue stole her younger sister's career. Many of them still remember the show that introduced little Danny's singing and dancing talents to the nation. When Young Talent Time finished up in 1989, the show's host and founder, Johnny Young, declared that Danny had been the hardest worker of all the young hopefuls who'd featured on the show during its 18-year run. After leaving the show in 1988, while Kylie was storming up the British charts with I Should Be So Lucky, 17-year-old Danny was launching her fashion range, which sold out across Australia in 10 days. Although the middle years of her career may have been spent in the shadow of her megastar Big Sis, Danny's famous positive outlook and perseverance have been rewarded by a sudden surge in her recording career. Thanks to the discerning ears of radio DJs in America, Warner released I Begin to Wonder and Don't Want to Lose This Feeling in the US, and both did well on the dance club charts.
My ambition is to
cross over in America, bring some dance music into the commercial charts, because in the UK it dominates the top 40 dance music, and here I think it's just going to take probably, I think the dance music scene needs a few more artist personalities that are going to really cross over this music.
As she was preparing her assault on the US, reporters began to wonder whether she'd been getting any advice from her big sister.
Mostly we just talk about boys and leave work, you know, aside, but has been absolutely incredible to have someone there that, you know, we've got each other to call on and to be with, to deal with all of the ups and the downs that you do get in this crazy biz.
She experienced one of the downs when British tabloid The News of the World got hold of a videotape of her enjoying a super raunchy lap dance at London's Puss in Boots strip club. Danny allegedly brushed off all the hoopla, calling it just a bit of fun. And certainly she's never made any secret of her penchant for having a good time. Her music and image are all about getting down at the club. Like Kylie, Danny has always attracted and embraced a huge gay following. She's an ambassador for the Terence Higgins Trust, which works to increase awareness of AIDS. And in 2004, she posed nude, wrapped only in a red ribbon, to promote World AIDS Day in Australia and the UK. Alongside her flourishing singing career, she's also been kicking new goals as a television presenter. In 2008, she was named TV Personality of the Year at the UK Glamour Awards for her work on the talent show X Factor.
I was actually just really nervous up there. I didn't know what to say, but now I can get excited. Now I can go, yeah!
Rock legend Meat Loaf reportedly attempted to avoid being drafted into the army in the late 60s by gaining 31 kilograms in 4.5 weeks. The ruse didn't work, but he ignored the call-up notice and went on to form several rock bands before joining the cast of the musical Hair in Los Angeles. He went on to enjoy great success in musicals and played the doomed biker Eddie in the stage version of 70s classic The Rocky Horror Show, before reprising the part in the film. He and his collaborator Jim Steinman ended up drawing on the theatricality of musicals for Meat Loaf's album Bat Out of Hell. With just 8 long songs on it, including Bat Out of Hell and 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad, it took 2.5 years to find a buyer for the album. Eventually released in 1977, Bat Out of Hell has since sold over 43 million albums worldwide. Since then, he hasn't stopped touring, recording and acting on stage and in films, like Roadie, Crazy in Alabama, Fight Club and Tenacious D in The Pick of Destiny. Despite all the accolades and hit records, he still feels like a novice.
I haven't accomplished anything as far as I'm concerned yet. There's so much left to do. There's so much improvement to be made. There's, you know, I'm working with a voice coach to sing better. I'm working with acting coaches to act better. I'm working with, you know, a movement coach to move better. I'm always working to improve and to get better. And it's like, if you think that there's no room for improvement or to get better, then really you should go fishing.
In 2006, more than 30 years after the first installment, he and Jim Steinman finally released the final part of the Bat Out of Hell trilogy.
We were in '79. Jim Steinman said this should be a trilogy, and I said, yeah, why not? And so we knew that that's where we were going with this. From after '78, and Bat became as successful as it was. It was the feelings of Steinman at that point, and I said, absolutely. I'm not an idiot, and well, to some people I might be, but anyway. So it just took 30 years to do it. That's all.
At the age of 60, it looked as though he may have finally run out of steam, when at the start of a concert in England's Newcastle, he suddenly declared, "Ladies and gentlemen, I love you. Thank you for coming, but I can no longer continue," and promptly walked off stage. The rest of the tour was cancelled, but just as fans were coming to terms with his retirement, he announced his comeback and returned to the stage in Plymouth for the first show of his Casa de Carne tour. Then in early 2009 came the news he was heading back to the studio with producer Rob Cavallo to record another album. Diana Ross is one of very few celebrities who have 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She unveiled her first one as the lead singer of the all-girls singing group The Supremes and was awarded her 2nd star as a solo artist. Although there were plenty of rumours of tensions within the group due to Diana's elevation to the rank of lead singer of The Supremes, she quickly proved her worth when the group's single "Where Did Our Love Go" went to #1 with her at the helm. She helped the Supremes to another 11 #1 songs before going it alone in 1968 and hitting the top of the charts another 6 times on her own. For that feat, the Guinness Book of World Records rated her as the most successful female music artist of the 20th century. When she was awarded a John F. Kennedy Center for Performing Arts Honors Award in 2007, her peers were queuing up to pile on the praise.
To be here is so many reasons. I mean, she is one of the original, to me, original divas in what we do. And, you know, she's contributed so much to music, and it's only right to honor her. It's only right to pay homage. It's only right to also research and do your homework, okay? Because she's done a lot for music. So that's how I see it, you know. It's a blessing to be here. I'm happy they asked me to be here. And I don't know, Diana Ross the boss, so why not?
Already well on her way into the record books in 1970, she decided she was ready for a new challenge. And it was announced that she would play jazz icon Billie Holiday in a Motown-produced biopic. The news was met with ridicule, given Diana's lack of acting experience and the total lack of similarity between her and the heroin-addicted jazz singer.
One company turned us down. Cinema Films in New York turned us down with Diana because they wanted someone else to play the part, and we said no. We went over to Paramount, and they agreed to do it. But I had to buy the film out or pay for it, and that was not a problem for me because, you know, I just felt that we could not lose with all the stuff. Of course, now I'm a little older, and I don't know whether I would have, you know, done it the same way.
However, Berry Gordy's gamble paid off. The film was a phenomenal success, and Diana earned universally rave reviews and an Oscar nomination for Best Actress.
It was my first film, you know, and my first acting debut, and it was like the one that gave me a chance to believe that, you know, that I could do this, you know. It was very exciting.
More than 30 years later, the team behind the movie enjoyed a long overdue reunion to launch a DVD of the film and plenty of behind-the-scenes extras. At the age of 19, Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent, spent 6 months in a shock incarceration boot camp for carrying a weapon and dealing drugs. After that, he started turning his life around and gained popularity as a rapper through underground singles. He'd signed to Columbia Records just before being attacked by a gunman outside his grandmother's house. He was shot 9 times and spent 5 months in recovery. He had to wait until 2003 before the release of his first commercial album, Get Rich or Die Tryin', produced by Eminem and Dr. Dre. The AllMusic Guide called it the most hyped debut album by a rap artist in a decade. Not only was it the biggest-selling album of the year, it also produced the year's biggest-selling Billboard single, In Da Club. His second album, The Massacre, sold 1.5 million copies in its first 4 days and finished as the second biggest-selling album of 2005 behind Mariah Carey. By the end of the year, he had his own record company and clothing company and was playing it cool about revisiting the good old bad old days of his youth by starring in a movie based on his life story.
I mean, it was a learning experience for me. It was my first time. You know, but I got a chance to work alongside the likes of Terrence Howard, Joy Bryant, Bill Duke, Omar Miller, Tory Kittle, Etta Wilder, you know, some great actors out there. So it was definitely, I got a chance to pick up things from everybody out there.
And Fiddy's first-time acting efforts got the thumbs up from his co-star.
Very easy to work with him. He's a wonderful guy, and he was very, very dedicated to what he was doing. There was no ego, no attitude, anything. He was there ready to work, and he actually set a really good example for everyone in the movie, and it was his first time.
And it wasn't to be his last time. In 2006, he played a traumatized soldier returning from the Iraq War in Home of the Brave. After that, he got to star alongside Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in the 2008 film Righteous Kill. He's since been working on Spectacular Regret, in which he plays a fighter in an Angola prison opposite Nicolas Cage. Since being bitten by the acting bug, Fiddy has also set up 2 production companies, G-Unit Films and Cheetah Vision. Having lost the bet with rival rapper Kanye West over whose third album would sell the most units, some fans were left wondering whether he would follow through on his promise to retire from recording if Kanye won. Apparently, he didn't mean it.
In the actual competition between 50 Cent and Kanye West, Kanye wasn't saying anything to make it exciting enough for people to actually go out and purchase the record. So I had to raise the stakes on my own by saying I would retire.
In 2005 alone, at the age of 18, teen queen Hilary Duff reportedly earned $15 million. By then, she'd already starred in the hit TV series Lizzie McGuire and movies like Agent Cody Banks and Cheaper by the Dozen. She'd also released 2 platinum-selling solo albums and was on to the launch of a greatest hits album called Most Wanted.
One thing that I'm really proud of it is that it shows the growth of, you know, kind of where I started, just recording material people had given me, you know, and then writing a little more and getting a little more control over, you know, my sound and my taste and what it's like. So I really feel like it shows a lot of time.
She'd already released her own perfume and clothing range bearing the less than glamorous label Stuff by Hilary Duff. When toy manufacturer Mattel came up with the idea of moulding her likeness in plastic and creating a Hilary Duff Barbie, Hilary was thrilled with the compliment. And a year later, she was launching a whole range of Duff Barbies for whom she designed the clothes.
Of course, it's my style. It's what I like to wear, what I feel comfortable in, and to be able to incorporate that and then see it on a Barbie and see girls get to play with it and mix and match it whatever way they like is really exciting for me.
Apparently, they had lots in common.
I live in LA, and Barbie's obviously an LA girl, so we felt like, you know, Fashion Week was the perfect time to debut Barbie fashion.
With her status as a teenage icon and entrepreneur assured, Hilary was finding her movie career a little more difficult to develop. Her 2 starring roles in 2004 in A Cinderella Story and Raise Your Voice earned her a double Razzie nomination. But she was full of beans about her 2006 film A Perfect Man, in which she played the scheming matchmaking daughter of Heather Locklear.
We've had so many men come in here and be like, I really love this movie, and I know I'm not the demographic, but I cried.
And despite netting yet another Razzie nomination, she was determined to keep pressing on.
I definitely think that I feel a little more comfortable acting. You know what I mean? I feel like that's something that, like maybe I have a little more room to work with. You know, I feel a little more confident. I'll take more chances, you know, and because I can always do it over again.
More recently, she's been taking control of her film career by producing as well as starring in the drama Greta. Though Phil Collins first made his name as the drummer and lead singer of 70s rock group Genesis before becoming a hugely successful singer-songwriter on his own, he actually started out as a child actor and model. He won his first major role as the Artful Dodger in the London production of Oliver and appeared in the 1968 children's classic Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. In between acting jobs and schoolwork, however, he taught himself to play the drums. And after playing in several bands as a teenager, he aced an audition with Genesis to become their drummer at the age of 19. When Peter Gabriel left, he took over singing duties, providing lead vocals on many of the band's hits. He went solo in 1981 with the album Face Value, which spawned the gated reverb drum sound that was to become his trademark, and the hit singles In the Air Tonight and If Leaving Me Is Easy. His biggest solo success came 3 years later with the release of No Jacket Required, which won a Grammy Award for Album of the Year. After establishing himself as a solo artist, he began branching out, collaborating with the likes of Eric Clapton, Curtis Mayfield and Peter Gabriel, and making a return to acting to play the title role in Buster, about the Great Train Robbery. However, since then, most of his film work has revolved around music. In 1999, he was approached by Disney to write a song for the animated feature Tarzan. You'll Be in My Heart spent an incredible 19 weeks at the top of the Billboard charts and won Phil an Oscar. He's been closely aligned with Disney ever since.
Part of it is because, I love animated films, and, I've grown up with my kids. I watched them with my parents. And part of it is because they just give me golden opportunities. I'm curious, I'm curious, and it's opportunity to just sort of take that opportunity to do something different.
One of those most recent opportunities came in the form of an invitation to write the score for the animated adventure Brother Bear, although he had to admit it ended up being a tough job.
I would say it's a lonely job writing the songs because there's nothing to look at apart from a few drawings. There's a few beats in the story where they say, we want a song here, but there's nothing to sort of bounce off. There's no emotional thing that's happened that you can use as a springboard. So really you just go in there and write a whole bunch of music from your gut reaction to reading the story, which is what I did with Tarzan, which is what I did with this. And then you start getting feedback. Well, this works, this is great, we like that.
Unlike some of her ex-soap opera peers, Natalie Imbruglia was very cautious about jumping into a career in singing off the back of a 2-season run in Neighbours. Finally, she was persuaded to venture into the studio. Her 1997 debut single, Torn, ended up going nuclear and won her a Grammy nomination. The subsequent album, Left of the Middle, spawned another 3 hit singles and went platinum within 4 weeks of its release in 1998.
I was terrified. I didn't know what to do with myself because I'd expected to get a lot of grief coming from Neighbours and not being one of many who'd crossed over into music. And so I was quite defensive and ready kind of to be on the, and then everybody was so nice and the song did so well and my brain just couldn't compute. So then I was like, oh no, now you're expecting something of me. So then I had to kind of deal with that on the second album, and that was probably more difficult.
That second album, White Lily's album, on which she co-wrote all the songs, took 3 years to complete. Although it fared less well with audiences, Natalie has always stuck up for it.
Well, to be honest, the second album I'm the most proud of, I think, because I think it took a lot of courage to not do everything the record company said and, ride on the wave of Torn and put out songs that I didn't write or that I didn't like or, maybe that didn't feel that I wasn't ready for. I mean, for me, just let me go and do my songwriting and find my feet and discover who I am, and what I'm doing, because I'd only done 1 record.
Before moving on to her third album, she took time out to star opposite Rowan Atkinson in the spy spoof Johnny English.
I had a brilliant time. I really liked having the chance to do... I'm a bit of a tomboy, so I liked having the chance to learn to ride a motorbike and do fight scenes and things that normally just the guys get to do, so that was fun for me.
Getting to play around on set was just the circuit breaker she needed before getting down to the serious business of recording her third album, Counting Down the Days, which marked a return to chart-busting form. Its lead single, Shiver, went on to become the most played song of 2005 in the UK. She's since taken full control of her career by launching her own independent label, in time for the release of her 2009 album, Come to Life.